What is up? What is up? What is up, y'all? Thank each and every one of you for being here on this Friday evening. I like to call it Friday Night Live. You know why? Because it's Friday night and I'm live. Well, it's Friday night for some of y'all, but for me and AJ Dradi, I see her down there. Thank y'all for coming in. It ain't quite night for us, but I try to be cognizant of the time zone difference for all of y'all who follow and support on the East Coast. So I try to get on a little early on Fridays to accommodate y'all. And I'm thankful that you are in the room, each and every one of y'all. See who we got in the house. Happy Mac in the building, Honey K, Amethyst Angel, AJ Dradi, Thrifty Treasure, Peace Talks. Thank you all for being here. On this Friday evening, we just got a couple of stories that we gonna hit and quit real quick. But I did want to say a special thank you to each and every one of you who participated in what felt like an experiment on last week. We went live almost every day last week, and I don't normally do that, y'all. You know, I'm more of a recorded content kind of guy on this channel. If you follow me for some time, you know the kind of content that I produce here. But there were some strange things that were happening last week that hit home here in California. And I kind of wanted to cover them, and I wanted not only to focus on them myself, but I wanted y'all to be aware of some of the things that you might not see. I don't know how much coverage this gets in your state, but it's not every day things like this hit home in California. So I thought it was interesting that we were able to cover it, and very interesting that so many of y'all tapped in. And the part that I love so much about it, which is why I'm thanking you now, is because the chat was live, y'all, and we had so many. I opened up the chat and we had so many guests that weren't even subscribers or supporters of the channel that just tapped in, and they loved y'all so much. And that's the beauty of the live. See, it ain't just about me on the live entertaining y'all, especially in situations like that where I'm trying to focus on the story and see what's going on myself. It's like we watching it together. Thank you for being here, Karen. See you down there. But we watched it together, y'all, and y'all chatted it up. Y'all welcomed the people who hadn't been in the chat before. And some of those people reached out to me and told me how much they enjoyed the vibe of the chat. Well, that ain't me. That's y'all. Y'all create that environment. And I'm so thankful for each and every one of y'all for being a part. So we started watching the live streams from Los Angeles. Federal government got involved. LA came out and did what LA does, and it became a problem quickly. It became an issue. Federal government was on the ground. Donald Trump nationalized the National Guard. And Kristi Noem came out here, y'all. And she wanted to make a statement. She did make a statement, held a press conference. And you know, the senator from California acted a stone fool at her press conference and got himself hemmed up right there in Los Angeles. He got exactly what he wanted. He got handcuffed. He got put on the ground. He laid prostrate before the Lord in them handcuffs and got led out by federal agents and then went back to Washington, D.C. The nerve, went all the way back to Washington, D.C. and cried blue snot on the Senate floor. Well, we in California that want things to be better, that want change, we are ashamed of that gentleman, Senator Padilla. AJ said, do you know that heifer mayor of ours also wanted us to come clean up our downtown? No, she didn't. You know what? I believe it. I believe it. I believe that she would make an appeal and say, hey, why don't y'all come clean this up? Sounds like her. Sounds just like her. They don't know what they're doing in Los Angeles. And this old retread Democrat mayor that y'all have down there, she used to be in the California legislature. Then they sent her to Washington, D.C. to be a congresswoman. Now they done made a way for her to be a mayor of a major U.S. city. And she's proving day by day that she doesn't know what she's doing. To ask the citizens of that city to come down there and volunteer their time. But you know why she wants you to volunteer, AJ? Because the city is broke. That's right. I released a video a few hours ago. The city is trying to send a bill to the president of the United States for nearly $20 million, saying that none of this would have happened had it not been for Donald Trump nationalizing the National Guard. Had you not sent the military down here, none of this would have even happened. And now we've run up a bill nearly $20 million. Most of it is police overtime. Most of it, y'all. So the police were working round the clock. They brought them in from all these different agencies all around LA, and you got to pay them overtime. They all about to get new Harleys. They going to remodel their kitchens. They're going to get swimming pools. All kind of things going to happen real good in their life because they made a bunch of money real quick because of the protests, working 24 hours almost. Well, this mayor is saying it's Donald Trump's fault. And this bill belongs to Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, on the other end of the argument, is saying, well, it would have been more than 20 had I not intervened. And I think he has a point because, y'all, he took the National Guard and put them at all the federal buildings downtown, which freed up LAPD resources to do other things. He's saying, had I not had the National Guard and the Marines there, y'all would have been stuck at those buildings too. And you already had your hands full. And look at all the damage downtown that you sustained, even with our help. And you have the audacity, the unmitigated gall to send a bill to me talking about the president owes the city this money? Man, come on. But this is what we're dealing with in California, y'all. And I wanted to bring it to your attention because I wanted to show appreciation for y'all for rocking out with me during all of that. And we culminated that whole week in The celebration of the United States Army, 250 years birthday celebration of the Army. We rocked out, y'all. That was that was great. The chat was lit. We were all in awe. We were sharing military stories of our family members, and it was just a great time. And people, again, who weren't familiar with the chat dropped in and was like, hey, what's going on here? Y'all kind of cool. I like it around here. Well, you know what? I think y'all kind of cool too. And that inspires me to go live even more, even though it's not my natural thing, but I'm gonna make an effort because I love and appreciate y'all. So we're gonna rock out. Y'all, JD Vance showed up in LA today. Amongst all the chaos, amongst all the turmoil, amongst all the things that are going on in the city, he showed up and he got to bumping his gums talking. I don't know. Let's see what he was talking about. I'm watching this video with y'all. So let's look and see what JD Vance had to say today. He did greet our Marines. That was good. I don't think that was his main point of being there, but I'm glad that they got that experience. And I'm thankful for their service.
You all from 29 Palms too? Right here. Yeah, great to meet you. Thank you. Yeah, good to meet you guys. Thank you all. Appreciate you guys. All right, how we doing here? Where are we standing? I'm going this way? Okay. Oh, I see. All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all for being here. And thanks especially to the Marines from 29 Palms for being here, for serving their country and providing some much needed security. As a matter of fact, I just heard from a couple of law enforcement officers, basically, thank you. Thank you to the president for sending in the DOD officials, for sending in the soldiers and Marines, because unfortunately, a lot of these federal buildings were under very serious threat. I heard about a lot of that during my tour here today. And the reason I'm here is I just wanted to hear from the law enforcement officials themselves, the state officials, the local officials, but also the federal officials, what's actually going on here on the ground. I think there's some good news. And the good news is the rioting has gotten a lot better. But the bad news is, as I heard from everybody, unfortunately, the soldiers and Marines are still very much a necessary part of what's going on here because they're worried that it's going to flare back up. And what do I mean when I say flare back up? I think it's useful to take stock of what actually happened in the city of Los Angeles over the past couple of months. So first of all, to set the table, we have a public official in Gavin Newsom and Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, who over the past few years have actively encouraged illegal migration into this community, have strained public services, have strained law enforcement, and really have offered generous benefits, not to American citizens, but to illegal immigrants to break the law, to come into our country, and to receive generous public assistance for having done so. What has that done? That has created an illegal immigration crisis, of course, facilitated by the policies of the Biden administration, and there is perhaps nowhere where that crisis has fallen harder than in the great city of Los Angeles. And, I landed, when I saw this city, when I was driving through to come to this FBI building, all I could think about is what a great American city Los Angeles is, and what a great tragedy it is that we have allowed illegal immigration and rioting to destroy, I think, one of the great gems of the American family. Now, these guys surrounding me represent the U.S. Attorney's Office, the Federal Bureau of Investigation. They represent immigration enforcement. And of course, we just met some Marines who represent the Department of Defense. All of these law enforcement officials were necessary because what happened is, in response to the basic federal action of enforcing immigration law, you had local officials and radical left-wing agitators who actually encouraged violence, who facilitated violence and rioting in the great city of Los Angeles. What happened here was a tragedy. You had people who were doing the simple job of enforcing the law, and they had rioters egged on by the governor and the mayor, making it harder for them to do their job. That is disgraceful. And it is why the president has responded so forcefully what happened in Los Angeles. Number one, because we've got to enforce our borders and get so many of these criminals out of our country to begin with. And number two, When you have violent agitators who make it impossible for the law enforcement to do their job, it is necessary to protect them and to defend them. We have to remember that the Friday that the riots started, before there was ever a single National Guardsman, before the President of the United States had sent in additional federal resources, you had law enforcement officers who were being captured and beaten by violent mobs egged on by Gavin Newsom and other officials. It was necessary to send the National Guard to stop that process, to bring some order back to this great city, and to make it possible for the people's president to enforce the people's immigration law. That's why we're here. That's why these guys are standing beside me. That's why we have close to 5,000 soldiers and Marines from the Department of Defense. It's because we've got to enforce the law. The president takes that very seriously. I'm happy to take a few questions, but before I do, I just want to send a message to all of the law enforcement, local, state, and federal, who frankly I think are suffering from a bit of a morale problem because they've had the local government in this community tell them that they're not allowed to do their job. I just want to let you know, from the president, the vice president on down, this administration stands with you. We're grateful for the job that you do every single day. We know that we wouldn't have a border were it not for your hard work and for your efforts, and we're going to keep on fighting for you and keep on standing with you every step of the way. I heard today Border Patrol officials tell me that they feel like the local government is sicking violent mobs on them when they go out to the community to enforce the nation's immigration laws. Can you imagine what it's like to be a federal official doing your job, doing the job the President of the United States ordered you to do, and have a mob come after you for following orders and for enforcing the American people's laws? I think it's disgraceful that we've ever gotten to this place in this country, but thank God we've got a president and an administration that is pushing back against lawlessness. We're going to keep on doing it every step of the way. So thank you to the Border Patrol. Thank you to the soldiers and Marines. Thank you to the U.S. attorneys. Thank you to the FBI. Thank you to all of you for doing what is necessary to enforce the laws of the American people. We are grateful to you, and we'll keep on fighting for you. Now I'll take a few questions.
Now, I need y'all to understand what's going on here, because if you're not familiar with California politics, this may seem a little strange. Why are all these people from the administration showing up in LA? Y'all, they understand this part right here lets me know they understand fully that LA is going to be a hard nut to crack. That border has been so porous for so long. You basically have a merged economy where people go back and forth across the border. They're doing everything from trafficking children, trafficking people, to trafficking drugs. And the cartels are heavily involved and heavily entrenched in Southern California. They know that it's going to be crazy to get law and order back to the forefront in LA. It's going to be almost impossible because you got people, in my opinion, let me couch it this way. We don't want to get in too much trouble, but you got people on that city council, in my opinion, who are on the payroll of folks south of the border. And Donald Trump understands that. He understands you have an incompetent mayor and an incompetent governor that are contributing to these problems and may be on the take. He understands how entrenched it is, and you're going to get to a certain point. See, right now, that little stuff that happened last week, that's light work. And he's right. They would have burned down that whole city had he not had the National Guard and the Marines in place. But it's not over. That's like round one. These people will go back, they will regroup, they will assess, and they will come back out again. And you're going to have to face them again and again. Why? Because you got people who have been here for generations, who have been running illegal businesses for generations, going back and forth across the border for generations. That's why they just came out this week and said, hey, you doing all of this uprooting of all these illegal workers down here, you're upsetting our economy. And people act like they don't understand. Like, how can you even come out and say that? Because you're just admitting that you've been hiring illegals. This is the foundation of the economy in Southern California. Y'all got that many workers entrenched in the Southern California economy so that such that when we start pulling them out and returning them where they should be, it's going to ruin the economy. We talk about the fourth largest economy in the world, y'all, when compared to other countries. But it is so corrupt that if you know anything about California politics, you know that those of us who are right-leaning, myself a registered independent, we've been trying for years to vote these people out. It's impossible. Why? Because they made it possible for those illegal folks who are involved in that economy down there to vote. And they're voting their own interests by the millions. And Donald Trump understands this. He understands that you're going to have to get millions, millions of people out of this state. Millions of people that have been used to make that economy go round. Yeah, it's going to cause some disruption. It's going to be a bumpy road moving ahead. But the fact that he keeps sending people from his administration out here to give us his lip service, it gives me some assurance that somebody somewhere, maybe Stephen Miller, one of my favorites, somebody somewhere understands the problem.
Would you say that Gavin Newsom is endangering law enforcement here in California, and what should he be doing if he was protecting them?
Look, I would absolutely say that Gavin Newsom is endangering law enforcement. The law enforcement officials themselves tell me as much, that when they go out, let's say you have a Border Patrol official who needs to go out and arrest somebody, maybe a violent criminal who's also an illegal alien. When that Border Patrol agent goes out to do their job, they said within 15 minutes of them trying to do their job, they have protesters, sometimes violent protesters, who are in their face, obstructing them, preventing them from doing their job, and endangering their lives. Why do they have that? Because those people have been egged on by local officials. Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass, by treating this city as a sanctuary city, have basically said that it is open season on federal law enforcement. They have treated Border Patrol and border enforcement as somehow an illegitimate force instead of what they are, which is the American people's law enforcement trying to enforce the American people's laws. So when Gavin Newsom encourages violence and rioting, when he encourages people to get in the face of our great Border Patrol officers, he is absolutely endangering the lives of federal enforcement. He's absolutely endangering the lives of mothers and daughters and fathers and sons who have been sent here to do a simple thing: enforce the law. And thank God they're willing to do it, despite the fact that the local leadership of this community has made it harder on them and has in fact endangered their lives as they go about to do their important work.
So your reaction to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, their decision yesterday? I just want to get your reaction to that.
Yeah, well, it's interesting that for the past couple of weeks, Gavin Newsom has said that there's an illegitimate effort to send federal resources to secure a city that he refuses to secure. And what the Ninth Circuit said yesterday is that that was a completely legitimate and proper use of federal law enforcement. The president has a very simple proposal to everybody in every city, every community, every town, whether big or small. If you enforce your own laws and if you protect federal law enforcement, we're not going to send in the National Guard because it's unnecessary. But if you let violent rioters burn great American cities to the ground, then of course we're going to send federal law enforcement in to protect the people the president was elected to protect. And I think what the Ninth Circuit said very clearly is when the president makes a determination that you've got to send in certain federal officials to protect people, that determination was legitimate, and the president's going to do it again if he has to. But hopefully it won't be necessary. We don't want to send these great Marines to cities like Los Angeles. We only do it if we have to protect federal property and to protect the lives of our great law enforcement folks.
Protesters, some of them funded by Democratic groups, who were releasing the addresses of ICE agents in hotels around here.
Well, you know, it just drives home. I was actually shocked to hear this, and I didn't realize this until I was in the command center earlier talking to some of these great officials, that oftentimes you have far left agitators who are posting the names, the addresses, even the family members of some of our law enforcement in an effort to harass them, antagonize them, and even threaten their lives. And what do I take from that? What I take from that is that you have a very small group of people who are so against the idea of border enforcement that they're willing to threaten and endanger the lives of their fellow Americans who are enforcing the law. And something else I take from it is that Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass have got to stop this craziness. Every single law enforcement officer I talked to today, every single one of them said they feel like the local leadership, the mayor and the governor, are encouraging these far left agitators. What is the justification for this? What is the reason for this? There is a broad bipartisan consensus that we ought to have border enforcement and we ought to enforce our nation's laws. So why do you have far left agitators egged on by local officials who are encouraging these agitators to harass and to threaten our border patrol? You have it because of a lack of common sense. These people need to be stopped. These people need to be told that if you threaten a law enforcement officer, you're going to go to prison for it. And that's exactly what the Trump administration, that's the message that we're sending. But look, we could do so much better and we could have such an easier pathway for these federal law enforcement officers if the local leadership wasn't egging this on. And I think that's the great tragedy. What I see here today is the great tragedy when a mayor and a governor encourages their citizens to harass and endanger the lives of our police officers and our law enforcement officers. It's heartbreaking to see, and thank God we've got great people who are willing to persevere despite it.
I'm glad to hear this. And I like you all in the chat. I agree. He's a great speaker. I love hearing Vance go off extemporaneously with his impromptu speeches, his Q&As. The guy's good. He's good, and he's going to be hard to beat in 2028. So anybody who is thinking about challenging him better take note and pay attention. Now, he even got ahead of where I was going with this story. I didn't know he was going to speak on the Ninth Circuit, but if you are unaware of that situation, while the riots were taking place in Los Angeles, our beloved governor, Gavin Newsom, sued Donald Trump. And he said it is unconstitutional that you have federalized the National Guard and are using them here in the city. He sued him and got another one of these judges. If you've been following this since Donald Trump has been in office, y'all, over 200 lawsuits have been filed. Every time the man makes a move, some little district court judge somewhere across the country is trying to stop him. And they know they are in a losing position. Understand this about these judges. They understand the position that they're in. They know they can't stop Donald Trump, and they know what they're doing is unconstitutional, but they know that the wheels of justice turn slow. So if I could just slow him down. Yeah, he wanted to do all these things in the first 100 days, but if I could just slow him down, he will look up and it'll be June 20th. And he ain't got much done. When you look at his agenda and the things that he wanted to put in place immediately, well, we've stalled him out for a good 6 months. And if we can just keep slowing him down and slowing him down, then maybe we can outlast him and get another Democrat elected in 2028 and reverse all of this stuff. Because understand, y'all, just like before, if he don't get this stuff qualified, if he don't get it codified, if he doesn't get this stuff written into law through Congress, well, we're going to have a problem come 2028. Going to have some issues. That's not what we want, but I understand he's walking lightly, treading lightly right now. He want to get that big, beautiful bill through, and then he going to drop the hammer on some other stuff, but he got to wait and see if he can get that bill through. That's going to open the floodgate for a lot of other things that he wants to get done. We understand. Yes, Amethyst Angel said the rhinos are contributing to the slowdown 100%. All of the enemies of this president are contributing in some kind of way. And I think that is what J.D. Vance is alluding to when he says that I'm out here on the street, y'all. I'm pounding the pavement. I'm talking to these National Guardsmen. I'm talking to the Marines, and they saying, hey, even talking to the local police who have been ordered to pull back from ICE support when ICE is doing their raids in the city. They saying, man, we feel like the city is working against us. No, it's not just a feeling. It's not just a notion, bro. That's what's happening. That local government is working against you because those nefarious forces are entrenched in that city government. When I say it's going to be a hard nut to crack, they're going to pull out every stop they can. in order to defeat those federal forces that are coming in and trying to infiltrate that system. They got a whole system in Los Angeles, y'all. It's been working for them as an underground illegal economy. How do you have businesses that come out and say, hey, you can't take our illegals? We hire them. Oh, you felt that was okay to say? That you as an employer are breaking the law? That you as an employer are paying these illegals that have no right to work? How are you paying them? Oh, that's right. They using your kid's social security number because, they got plugs all over the place. And when a baby is born and that number is assigned to that child, well, they know you ain't really going to need it for a little while. So what if we just give it to somebody to go down there and pick some strawberries and get a paycheck? And then you go to file your taxes with the IRS one day and you try to claim your baby as a dependent and they say, we're rejecting your whole filing. You can't file this. Somebody's already filed taxes on this social. You like, what you mean? My baby is 2. What do you mean? Well, evidently somebody is using your baby's social to work over here 80 hours a week. That's a whole problem that you have to unravel. See, the city ain't going to help you with that. Karen Bass ain't going to help you with that. Gavin Newsom ain't going to help you with that. That becomes your problem, but it is a problem that is facilitated by the crooked government of Los Angeles. And I share this with you, hoping that you come to an understanding of the corruption that is going on there. Because when I see all these federal faces like a J.D. Vance, like a Kristi Noem, I'm waiting to see if Donald Trump gonna come out here and touch down. Last time he came out here, Gavin Newsom wasn't even invited. So what he do? He ran out on the tarmac and put his finger in his face just to get a photo out. And that's all we saw was that photo. He disappeared after that. Yeah, Gavin is good at disappearing, but I'm gonna show you in a second where Gavin be popping up when he disappears.
Another question, Mr. Vice President. There's been back and forth about whether raids will be going on in agricultural businesses and restaurants. Could you tell us if that's going to continue or not?
Well, the president's made 2 points on this that I think are very worth emphasizing. Number one, if you are in this country illegally, you are at threat of deportation because that's what it means to enforce the country's laws. If you've come here illegally, the policy of the Trump administration is that you shouldn't be here. You should go back and then come through proper channels if you so desire. But the president has also said that he wants to focus our critical and short supply law enforcement resources on going after the really bad guys, on the violent criminals, on the rapists, on the drug cartel members. We've still got a lot of those people in our country, and that's where the president wants to focus law enforcement resources, and that's what he'll continue to do.
Democrat lawmakers who keep getting handcuffed. The New York Times just did a story. They keep getting handcuffed, suggesting that the Trump administration is cracking down on Democrats. Can you comment on that?
Well, I was hoping Jose Padilla would be here to ask a question, but unfortunately, I guess he decided not to show up because there wasn't the theater. And that's all it is.
Oh, my goodness. Did he just call him Jose Padilla? Oh, you racist, J.D. Vance. Jose Padilla, you might as well call him Hector. Jose? Oh, that's so racist. Senator Alex Padilla? Oh, my goodness.
I think everybody realizes that's what this is. It's pure political theater. These guys show up. They want to be captured on camera doing something. They want to be able to go back to their far left groups and to say, look, me, I stood up against border enforcement. I stood up against Donald Trump, when all they're really standing up for is for drug cartels to run rampant over our country and sex traffickers to be able to continue to traffic little kids into our country. That's what you're doing when you stand against border enforcement. So I think these guys, we ought to laugh them out of the building. We ought to call them out for doing what they're doing, which is grandstanding. And if they want to work seriously on border enforcement and on keeping their communities safe, the Trump administration's door is wide open, but they're not doing that. They'd love the grandstanding. They hate law enforcement because they hate the idea of the United States of America having a border. It's a disgrace, but it is what it is. We'll do one more question.
Sure. Just another thing. Do you think that the administration has been too aggressive with the deportation efforts? Like, are non-criminals getting caught up in the dragnet as well?
No, look, I don't think that we've been too aggressive at all. I mean, first of all, anytime that a mistake has been made, we correct that mistake very quickly. But the unfortunate reality is that Joe Biden let in 15 to 20 million illegal aliens into this country, and there is no way for us to actually get those unlawful illegal immigrants out of the United States of America without some serious law enforcement. And that's what we've been trying to do. It's not too aggressive. It's not not aggressive enough. It's just the right approach to make sure that we're enforcing our country's border laws. We have to remember 100,000 Americans die of fentanyl overdoses brought in by the Mexican drug cartels. We've got a terrible sex and human trafficking problem because of what these cartels are doing at the southern border. The president deserves great credit because after 45 days, you saw illegal border crossings draw to a small fraction. Illegal border crossings down over 99% under President Trump's leadership. But unfortunately, because Joe Biden was president for 4 years, we've got a lot of bad people in the United States of America that we've got to do the job of getting out of our country. That's what these guys are doing. We ought to support them, and we ought to have local leadership that empowers them to do their job of making Americans safer. Instead, Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass, they've decided to go to war against the people trying to keep our communities safe. That's a disgrace. That's a terrible commentary on their qualities as leaders. But the Trump administration is going to keep on standing for the American citizens and for American law enforcement. Thank you all. Great to be here. And thank you to you guys.
I love it. I love it. What it tells me is that he has an understanding of the issues that are going on in the state. It gives me some reassurance that someone knows what's going on. You have human trafficking, you have drug trafficking, and you have illegal workers that have driven down wages in the state. Some folks who used to be middle class are no longer middle class in Southern California because you've been undercut. Y'all, I saw a particular builder in California who was complaining, a major corporation, a builder, construction company, they were complaining that only 3 people showed up to the work site. Now they trying to build neighborhoods, y'all. These are master plan communities. But they can't get nobody to build. Now I know if I pointed to anybody randomly in the chat, some of y'all, anybody could tell me, yeah, I know somebody who works construction, or I know somebody who knows how to build. I know someone who is skilled in labor, the construction arts. Do y'all know somebody? But these people are being undercut, and they've been put out of work for years, for decades. Bobby Gold says, for sure, we all know somebody who can build, who can work, even a laborer. Somebody can clean up the work site, but they've all been undercut. And it's all been allowed to happen illegally in this state. But because it's been allowed to go on for so long, it is entrenched, y'all. They built a whole economy on it. And people have suffered because of it. Well, J.D. Vance is telling you, he knows the situation. He knows what's going on. He knows that Gavin Newsom is part of the problem. And you know what? California voters know it too. But in a rigged one-party state, what are you going to do when you suffer under such tyranny? See, Gavin Newsom is going to run for president. We all know it. We see him prepping for it. He's trying to shift to the middle and change the narrative. We know what he's doing, but he thinks that the voters of California have forgotten that we were under tyranny during COVID. No, we ain't forgot. We understand exactly what you did. We understand that California's kids in public schools were out of school for 2 years, the longest state in the country to have kids out of school because of COVID. And you know what happened? When the kids could have gone back to school just like they went back in your state, the teachers union stepped up and they said, no, we don't want to come back. Leave them out. Leave them out. We don't want to go back to work. Leave them out. So the children suffered under this governor who seemingly didn't care. You know why? Because his kids didn't miss a day of school. They were in private school. It was the public school kids who suffered. It was kids in the hood who suffered. It was kids in the community who suffered. Gavin Newsom kids never missed a day of school. You know what else? Gavin Newsom didn't miss a meal. He was caught over at the French Laundry, one of the most expensive restaurants in this state. He was caught right out there with his friends with no mask on, living it up, partying it up, drinking it up. Yeah, that Gavin Newsom is going to try to run for president. I think he lives in such a bubble that he don't understand that he don't play well outside of California, because he don't understand that he don't play well inside of California. But it just came out, though. It just came out. And y'all should know this because it probably ain't hit your news. I had to even dig to find it. But you know where Gavin Newsom was while they were rioting in LA? While things were going left in LA, while he was complaining about Donald Trump and the National Guard, while he sued Donald Trump for controlling the California National Guard in Los Angeles, where y'all think Gavin Newsom was? Oh, he was somewhere chilling, just like he was at the French Laundry during COVID, while Californians were on lockdown and couldn't leave the house under threat of arrest and citation. One dude was on the beach in LA by himself, surfing. He the only one out there. You know, they arrested that man for being by himself in the water. Oh, you gonna infect the fish? No, headline says Gavin Newsom sipped Cabernet while Los Angeles burned. Yeah, he was at a private party with a special wine tasting situation. Ultra bougie. Some of y'all know about that. I ain't bougie. I don't know nothing about it. I don't know about them bougie events. If I got to go somewhere and put on a fake smile, don't invite me. I ain't coming. But they say they had a nice little jazz band going on with some live music playing. They was all dressed up and Gavin was out there doing his thing. Now, I don't know if you know this, but Gavin is heavy in the wine industry, heavy in the food industry, such that California contracts are getting steered to affiliates of his organizations. Yeah, they don't call him new scum for nothing. But we have been living under this tyranny. Yeah, see, Peace Talks understands. Scum and his family also moved to Kentville, Marin County. Yes, sure did. Out here acting like a movie star while all the people suffer. Yes, that is his way. That is how he gets down. Good old Gavin was out there partying, living it up, while LA was in turmoil. Then he gonna turn around and sue Donald Trump and say, you have no right to put the National Guard here. Well, that is the Ninth Circuit decision that J.D. Vance was referring to. Because that one little district court judge, see, I got sidetracked. I was going down that road earlier, but that one little district court judge who ruled in his favor was instantly, his decision was stayed by the Ninth Circuit while the appeal went forward, which was great. But we came to find out that that little district court judge who wielded all that power to say that what the president can't do, that was a Justice Breyer, the younger brother of the now retired Justice Breyer from the United States Supreme Court. Oh, you got a Breyer on the Supreme Court? Then you got a Breyer at the district court level in the Ninth Circus? It's all tied up, y'all. It's all mobbed up, y'all. So the younger Justice Breyer says, no, Donald Trump, you can't do that. I'm going to rule and stop you from exercising your presidential powers. Well, Ninth Circuit hopped in immediately because Donald Trump appealed it immediately. They immediately stayed his decision. Well, Ninth Circuit ruled, we finally got the decision that says Donald Trump wins. He has the presidential authority to do what he did. And we all knew that. All you got to do is read the Constitution. It's right there. Gavin Newsom knew it too. But they're going to challenge this man at every turn. Every decision he makes, every move he makes, they're going to challenge him. If they can't defeat him, they want to slow him down. That's what they're trying to do, AJ. they want to slow him down. But thank goodness that the Ninth Circus has had, I don't know, I can't even give it to them to say that they've had an awakening and that they understand the role that they play. I'm not going to give them that much credit. I think that because of recent decisions from the SCOTUS, they feel like they got a foot on their neck. And we want them to feel that way because we have to live under this tyranny here. If y'all ain't in the Ninth Circuit, listen, count it a blessing. But things are changing. Things are changing, and we're happy about it. So we got that ruling from the Ninth Circuit. Donald Trump came out, and he even had something to say about it. Big win in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals on the president's core power to call in the National Guard. The judges obviously realized that Gavin Newsom is incompetent and ill-prepared, but this is much bigger than Gavin, says President Trump. Because all over the United States, if our cities and our people need protection, we are the ones to give it to them should state and local police be unable for whatever reason to get the job done. This is a great decision for our country, and we will continue to protect and defend law-abiding Americans. Congratulations to the Ninth Circuit. America is proud of you tonight for the first time in a long time. America is proud of the decision that you came down to, but we know, had you not been forced by prior decisions, if you had not been held to account by binding law, you sure enough would have went in the other direction. We still fighting for our 2A rights here in this state. And I'll get to that case in just a second, but things are changing. We here for it. There was another decision that I got to note. We ain't going to hold you on here forever tonight. I didn't even think I'd be on here this long and be so late in my agenda at this hour. But the SCOTUS says, you know, this is June. This is the end of their term, so they're going to be dropping decisions every day. A couple big decisions that I thought might come this week, not coming or haven't came, so we're going to wait on those next week. They can extend the term if they want. We'll see. Hopefully they won't do that. But this decision was important. And much like the Dobbs decision that struck down Roe v. Wade, you have a decision that starts out in the states where the state passes a law. And you have these non-governmental, mostly liberal organizations that say, hey, we are coming against y'all in these red states. Y'all passing these laws that we don't like. We're going to fight you because we believe we have the upper hand as liberals. In this country, they are misled. They still got that Obama dementia, that Joe Biden dementia. Y'all have been misguided by those left-wing administrations, got y'all thinking crazy is okay. Well, the SCOTUS has come down and said that a law in Tennessee that has been challenged by a liberal organization, well, that law is constitutional. You know what that law says? It say you can't be cutting on the kids like you've been doing. You can't be chopping on the kids like you've been doing. Y'all want to call it gender affirming care? No, I'm so glad that even in the decision, the court didn't even call it gender affirming care. Ain't nobody falling for that because they understand that if you control the language, you control the argument. Shout out to the SCOTUS. They said that law is constitutional. It does pass muster. They can pass a law that say don't touch the kids. And these people have come out. And you see them all over the place, these liberals, and they say, well, I knew early on that my child was a transformer. Before they could even talk, before they could even speak, I saw one person said, before Salapter in the building, thank you for being here. We missed you. Thank you for showing up and showing your support. We love you. Appreciate you. We know the time difference is crazy. People have said that I knew when my child was 3 years old, 4 years old, and put a towel on his head like it was hair. Well, I knew he was a transformer. I took that as a sign. I knew what it was. I recognized it at an early age. Well, you know what? I used to take a towel and put it around my neck like a cape and think I was Superman. My parents would have been crazy to call me Superman. But these parents are calling their children what they envision them as and saying, you know what? That little thing, that little penis, go and cut it off. He ain't gonna need it. He's a she now. And a reasonable person, a reasonable mind would say, whoa. Ain't it a little early? Let him see what God do with the thing. See, the little deacon has purpose. Let him get to an age where he can figure out what it do. He might like what it do. He might come to appreciate what God has given him. They're like, no, cut it off. We good. Well, the Supreme Court has said that if you live in Tennessee, Peace Talk say he just might. He just might. Peace Talks. I mean, who knows, right? Tennessee said, don't touch the kids. Supreme Court says they can do that. Got to cut to the chase, y'all. That's what the ruling says. And you know what? It was a 6-3 ruling. Can y'all guess the 3 who dissented? Now, I've been feeling some kind of way about Amy Coney Barrett and the decisions that she was making. That was a bad choice. Period. It's a bad choice. Donald Trump was in his first term. He didn't understand. Somebody recommended her to him. Hey, Jack, we see you. Thanks for coming back. We appreciate your support. Somebody recommended Amy Coney Barrett, and she been so shaky. Seems like she been siding with the women of the court. And those women just happen to be liberals. So when you get a 6-3 decision, you get the liberals that we expect. It's okay. Kagan, Sotomayor, and Brown Jackson. You had an 8-1 decision the other day. You know who the one was? Brown Jackson. The DEI hire. Yeah. That's what we're dealing with. So shout out to the Ninth Circuit for ruling the way they did. Shout out to the SCOTUS for ruling the way they did. And if you're in California where I am, y'all, you got to give a shout out for this Nguyen v. Bonta case. Now, I know a lot of y'all out there ain't got to deal with this. That's why I share some of these California stories, because y'all be looking at California like we crazy. The people of California are not. I need you to make this distinction. I'm sorry. Make the distinction. The people of California are not crazy, but our legislators are. A lot of our mayors are Karen Bass. Our governor definitely is. Poppy Gold say, I promise I'm not crazy. I believe you, Poppy. But Nguyen v. Bonta was a case that challenged the law in California that said you can only buy one weapon in 30 days. Silly law. Didn't understand it when it happened. And it goes back so far, I don't even remember when it wasn't in place. I don't know how old it is. But they challenge it. You can only buy one weapon in 30 days. And this is what I hate about California, because they come up with these arbitrary laws with arbitrary numbers. Why 30 days? Why not 29 days? Why not 31 days? Why is a magazine limited to 10 rounds? Why not 9 rounds? Why not 11? These are just arbitrary, made up numbers. Honey K says that's silly. Yes, it is. But these are the laws that they put in place. Because buying only one gun in 30 days is going to stop you from doing anything crazy. Well, the crazy folk ain't in the gun store buying legal weapons. No, we as citizens of this state are handicapped such that you got laws like this. You can only buy one. Well, the dude on the block got a street sweeper. The dude on the block got an extended mag. He got everything that you saying we can't have. And here we are trying to stand up for our families and defend ourselves as law-abiding citizens, but we facing all kind of everything y'all can have in them other states that I complain about all the time because we can't have. Trust and believe, they in the streets. Trust and believe, they in LA with them people who y'all know ain't supposed to be here. They got them. But the law-abiding citizens of Los Angeles can't have them. Ain't that something? There's a couple of, thank you all for being here tonight. I see all of you and appreciate you being here and supporting. There's a couple of people I was looking for in the chat that I don't see. So I'm going to skip over one little story because we were in the chat last week and we were enjoying the 250th birthday celebration for the Army. Come to find out that there are several metalheads in the chat that I never would have expected. DVS Lord was one, and we know he's a musician, so it didn't surprise me that he knew his music. Urban Southern Cookie was another. She knew her rock bands. CA really surprised me. She knew her rock bands. Even Bernie Miranda knew her rock bands. I said, oh man, well, maybe we will find a time to talk about it. And we will. But those are several names that I don't see in the chat tonight. So we will just move on past that and get to our final issue of the night. Y'all, many of you know that have been following for some time. I just entered the 50 Club. I'm making myself comfortable. I'm adjusting. I'm adapting well, I believe. But I've taken up cooking as of late, and I consider myself to be a grill master. And it's my time, y'all. It's summertime when the sun gets just about right about now at 6 p.m. West Coast time. Oh, it's time to fire up the grill. It's time to get it going. It's time to teach y'all youngins some things now that I'm in the 50 Club. I am the grill master. I'm trying to transfer those skills into the kitchen to do some other things. I think cooking is fun. It's kind of a stress relief kind of thing, and I understand. I watch the cooking shows. Anybody watch MasterChef? Anybody watch Triple Threat? I like these shows. Thank you, one who cares. She says, congratulations. Thrifty says, I'm coming over. Well, we like to do the things of the things, and we learning as we go. Now, I think it would be difficult to cook for masses, people who do that and cater events and things like that. I don't know about that. That seems like that might be harder. Just making a certain meal, but making it so much bigger. But I'm learning, y'all. I'm learning. So as I learn, I come across different things, and I said, let me talk to my people. I consider y'all to be my people. Y'all rock out with me real hard, and I love y'all for it. I looked up, and y'all got to understand, let me couch this, put this out there, because I don't know if any of y'all have used AI tools, but it's becoming more and more popular these days, such that AI tools have Google nervous because people are starting to use AI as a resource and ask it questions instead of just Googling things. Y'all remember when Google just became a household name? Like, oh, Google it, Google it. Like Google was a verb, it's something to do. It's just Google it. Well, now Google is concerned because AI is becoming more popular, but let me tell you, having used AI tools for many different things, sometimes AI is a liar. Sometimes AI gets it wrong, and it don't matter which one you use or which one you prefer. Sometimes y'all AI just make up stuff. What am I saying? It's good. I like it. I use it. But in some cases, it ain't ready for prime time. So be careful how much you depend on AI. But in order to answer a question, Lotus the kid, I'm getting there. Yeah. Let me cut to the chase. She getting impatient. I asked AI, I said, how many times is the word wine in the Bible? Wine, W-I-N-E. Not W-H-I-N-E. That's a whole different conversation. W-I-N-E, wine. How many times is it in the Bible, AI? AI came back and said the word wine appears 231 times in the Bible, based on a count from the King James Version. Now, I need y'all to have you a King James Version and make sure it's paper. Y'all hear that? That's paper. I need you to have a paper Bible. They can update those apps any day. Y'all hear about that hack that just happened with 16 billion emails and passwords leaked? Alone, I'm 22. Wine. Passwords leaked, y'all. Billions of emails and passwords leaked. Biggest hack in history. Whatever email you use, that information is already out there. It's out there. All your emails, it's all leaked. Look up the story and change your password if you want, but they can just hack you again. The HMOs, the hospital's been hacked. The cell phone company's been hacked. Everybody gets hacked. All your information is out there. It's a shame. But do what you can. Take precautions. Says in the King James Version, 231 times it is mentioned. This includes the Old and New Testaments, covering references to wine in various contexts like offerings, celebrations, and metaphors. AJ Droddy said King James paper is the best. Honey K said, oh, now you preaching. Well, let me preach then. She said, love my paper Bible. Different translations, e.g. NIV, ESV, may vary slightly due to word choice or manuscript differences. Okay, cool. So we got 231 times in the Bible that wine is mentioned in the King James Version. Now, I don't know how y'all was raised. I was raised Kojic. And they taught us to abstain from things like wine, even though it's in the Bible. Even though it's in the Bible 231 times referenced. Wine is the same thing today as it was in biblical times. It's just a fermented grape. It's the same thing. But they raised us to stay away from it. Well, when I got older, my bishop said, well, we know what the Bible says. We done read the book, we know, but we say abstain because you Negroes don't know what your limits are. Says, do not become drunken. And some of y'all take it too far. We know that the Bible says 231 times wine is referenced. So let me cut to the chase because I'm already over an hour. But I want to know, chat, this evening for y'all who are hanging out with me, how many of y'all cook with wine? See, I'm just getting into this thing. I'm trying to transfer my grilling skills into the kitchen, and I see recipes. Let's say, put a little wine in it. Say, put a little white wine in that pasta. Say, put a little red wine in that braising liquid with that chuck roast. Peace Talk say, yep. Poppy goes, that's excess addiction and using anything to dull the spirit or avoid truth. Yep. Jack says, Kojic, I love me some Bishop Samuel Kelsey. See, Salafter, yup, and beef goulash taste amazing. Do you feel like it threatens your salvation in any way? Do you feel like, Honey K said, depth of flavor? Let me get back to my screen. Because sometimes, y'all, they put it right there in the recipe. And I came across this from the New York Times Cooking, which is a good site for recipes, I believe. A lot of good stuff pops up there. But you see it right there? Right next to the chicken stock where it says 1 cup dry white wine. There are so many recipes I'm finding, even as I peruse through my wife's cookbooks. I say, hey, that looks like a good recipe. Definitely has an interesting picture. I think I would like that with its ingredients, but it's like wine right there. But then you get down to the recipe and it says, well, cook the wine out. And then I look at Gordon Ramsay and he poured the liquor off in the pot and then he set it on fire. He said, don't worry about it. You ain't going to be able to taste it. I'm cooking off the alcohol. AJ, look, AJ said red wine. Look, I can't even pronounce that, AJ. But I believe you had it the other night, didn't you? Did you put red wine in it the other night, AJ? I believe you hopped off the live last week and had some of that for dinner. I hope it was good to you. Did you put red wine in it? I took my wife to Emerald's restaurant. And they set the food on fire. I know it had to be some liquor in there. What else is going to burn? What you pour off in there that you done set on fire in front of us? What do y'all think about this topic? And how often, if you do, how often do you partake in these things where you would pour a glass of wine in a pasta dish, pour a glass of red wine in a braising liquid or a crock pot or whatever it is you use to get your meat just right? Who's doing the thing? Okay, listen, we got some Bible in the building now. This is one of those 231 references. Is this what it is? 1 Timothy 5:23. Do not drink water only, but take a little wine to help your digestion. Oh, what version is GNT? Lawn 22. I ain't never heard the Bible talk like that, to help your digestion. Since you are sick so often, take you a little wine to help them bubble guts. I ain't never heard of that, but okay, we're going to take your word for it, Lawn 22. She came with Bible. Cap America just in time. Oh, you see, you on that other stuff. Cap America on something else. Says, got my HK VP9 with 2 additional max. Hey, you know You know that we can have a staccato in California now. I don't know if you in California, Cap America, but we just got our first staccato. I'm excited. I'm more excited than I should be. But praise God for that. I'm sorry, I got a little sidetracked, y'all. Let me get back to it because Lana gave us scripture. Said, do not drink water only. Not water only. But take a little wine to help your digestion since you are sick so often. Lana say that's Bible. Jack said, I use beer for a steak marinade at times. Okay, listen, Jack. When I was coming up, my cousins and them, just to show you that I'm a real blackety black, because sometimes I take heat on this internet for saying that. But sometimes my cousins used to pour beer over the ribs as they was over the fire, just grilling. I said, boy, these boys look for any reason. They making up stuff out here. I ain't never seen that before. We got another scripture. Hold on, Poppy Go. Drink no longer water, but use a little wine for, okay, that's the King James. Okay, came back with another version. King James of the same scripture. But use a little wine for thy stomach's sake and thine often infirmities. Well, that's a nice way to put it. That's not, next time you got some bubble guts, just call it infirmities. Thrifty Treasure says Irish beef stew is made with beer. Well, we know the Irish get down a certain way. I ain't Irish, but I seen them cut up. Honey K said they have been putting beer on barbecue for years. Yeah. Yeah, they have. Okay, so AJ is giving us some context saying the water was bad back then and fermentation helped stomach health. You see, this is the beauty of it, AJ. I appreciate you putting that because so many people will quote scripture without adding context. And then they try to, especially these modern day preachers, try to put a 2025 spin or 2025 context on a King James verse and expect you to get it. So I'm definitely one that appreciates when people read scripture in context. The water wasn't no good. The water gonna mess you up. Oh, you mean like that water in Mexico? See, that's why they come to LA. Because the water ain't no good down there. Lana says the St. Patrick's. Yep. I get it, y'all. It's just a question that I had that I wanted to present to y'all. Poppy says, right, no clean springs. Thrifty said, water is no good compared to wine. Thrifty, I'm trying to get an answer to the question. Do you cook with it, though? We ain't talking about drinking it. I'm not even talking about for your infirmities because everybody that I've seen, I'm talking about YouTube. I'm a YouTube chef. I ain't been to culinary school or nothing like that, but everything I've seen, they're cooking it down when they add it to a dish. Let me get this off the screen. Even when they add it, they're cooking it down. So I'm assuming it has no intoxicative properties. We're not talking about drinking for intoxication. And I love the fact that y'all, that Lana put that scripture out there because it gives you another purpose other than drunkenness. Okay, there is a utility to this. Now, never mind that side effect. Because every drunkard you talk to is going to It's going to rely on the utility. Just like every weed head you talk to. Oh, well, I'm high functioning. Yeah, every weed head, lazy bum says that. Happy Mac said a little bourbon in the barbecue sauce. Alcohol is cooked out, but the flavor remains. You know what? I'm glad you pointed that out, Happy Mac, because that is what I'm gathering. As I look into this more and more, and I watch more content of people using this substance to cook with, as I try to figure out whether it's a good idea or not, I think it's great that you would point that out. That the alcohol is cooked out, but the flavor remains. Does the flavor remind you of the alcohol? And is that reminder sinful? That little twang, that little taint of flavor that you wouldn't have got without it. Let's be honest, y'all. Make that same dish without it. Does it taste the same? Or does it add something that is so essential to that dish that you look up to the heavens and say, God, this word in the Bible 231 times as you loosen your belt buckle at the table. We see you, Amethyst. And that's definitely, it could be an issue. It could be a stumbling block for someone, could it not? Honey Cake said carne asada marinade uses the Mexican beer. That facts. When you go and sit down at a Mexican restaurant, are they marinating the meat with it? And you just not know? Is it something that you're ingesting when you go out to eat and you don't know anything about it, and it's just different because you're at home having to prep it yourself? Does that make the difference? AJ Droddy said if prepped properly, if cooked properly, you can't even taste the alcohol. You don't even taste it. Shout out to Amethyst Angel. 21 and a half years. Clean and sober. God is good. I just wanted to present that to y'all because I've been seeing it quite a bit, y'all, as I try to get my cooking skills up. I think it's a late 50 club interest of mine, and I'm just trying to see whether it's something that I really want to dig into, because y'all know when I get ambitious about stuff, I go all in. I don't like to half do stuff. I like to go all the way. If I'm interested in it, I give it my attention. So as I watch Gordon Ramsay play around with stuff and Emerald play around with stuff, and what's that other show? Triple Threat. What's that other guy? I forget his name. He's a good one too. I see them doing different things and I get inspired and I get excited and be like, maybe I should try it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes I'd be like, you know what? Throw that out. That didn't work at all. Bobby Flay, that's his name. Bobby Flay. Armita Cato is in the building just in time for the benediction. We appreciate you, sis, and we have missed you when you haven't been here. We were just reminiscing over the good time we had on live all last week. We came together. The chat was live. It was lit. We had a good time fellowshipping together as we have tonight. She said, just got home. Don't be sorry, sis. We love you to life. I'm just letting you know that when we don't see you in the chat, we miss you. That's all. But they were schooling me just now. D-Blah in the building. They were schooling me, D-Blah, on the usage of wine in food as it is mentioned 231 times in the King James Version Bible. It's not just good for cooking, it's good for digestive irritation, and infirmities, as the King James Version says. But the saints of God in the chat have let me know tonight that they know what to do with a bottle here and there. And I want y'all to show some restraint. I want y'all to understand that even being mentioned in the Bible 231 times, that's what struck me. When I asked AI and AI spit out that number, I said, oh, really? Because they don't never preach that in the church that I come from. And when my bishop was asked about it, that I told you his response was, y'all don't know how to act. So we gonna try to help you out and just preach abstinence. We know what the Bible says. We know what it is. But we don't want you to be tempted. We know that it can be a vice, especially in the community. Y'all, we got so many vices in the community. Why would we even want to tempt ourselves? Yeah, Lorna, Lorna, we know what he did. We know that's Bible. And we being a little lighthearted on this Friday because I hope y'all have had a wonderful week. I hope somebody get a chance to put their feet up this evening and just relax with us and hang out on a Friday. We just hanging out. And I appreciate your company this evening. But I'm halfway serious. It's a serious question because I see these recipes, book after book, recipe after recipe, and it says, do this. Oh my. Oh my. Hold on. Cato, she said, are you talking about the new demonic teaching about having sex outside of marriage? Oh no, I ain't even close to that. I don't know what that is. A demonic teaching such as that? Yes, very demonic. Yes, Amethyst Angel says, remember though, today's wine, beer, and spirits aren't as they were millennia ago. You know what, Amethyst Angel, I know you take in some of the same content that I do. So let me see if you take this in, because we follow some of the same channels. We exchange ideas. There's a YouTube channel. There's a YouTube channel called Country Style. Amethyst, you know about Country Style? Them old country brothers from South Kakalaka. They was out there and they put some sugar and some cherries or some sugar and some grapes off in a barrel off on their land, and they make it themselves. Listen, that ain't that store-bought spirit stuff. That's curated right there in the barrel in the back. That's like some jailhouse. That's some Pruno. Honey K say, I watch them. I get a kick out the country cats because I don't know nothing about living in the country. But I like to see how other people get down. I find it interesting. That ain't the stuff you buying in the store. That ain't that high volume alcohol you getting off the shelf. That's some dude with a barrel in his backyard with some grapes and some sugar. Yes, Poppy. Studies show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not be ashamed, rightfully divining the word of truth. But it matters, Poppy. When you study, it matters. What you study, it matters. Who you study with, it matters. Who you take guidance from. It's so important that we pick our leadership, choose our leadership wisely. because we could be led astray. Even as Cato is saying, preachers out here preaching some of anything. I just came across a story that said that the preachers down there at the Stillbirth Church in Atlanta had some brothers in some high heels. I gotta confirm the story, but I sure did hear it. I sure did hear it. So many people can be led astray. That same brother not too long ago said he wanted brothers who smell like weed at his church. Strange. Odd. Unconventional. And demonic, in my opinion. Amethyst Angel says, I got a friend deep down Georgia. His people make their own wine and beer and smoke their own wacky tobacco. Oh, they smoke the devil's lettuce down there in Georgia. What do you think bathtub gin and white lightning came from? Well, I don't know. I mean, I ain't that old, Amethyst. Bathtub gin. I had to read a history book to learn about some bathtub gin. YouTube sister said when Kevin called out Kirk at the BET, that was the demons talking to the 7 sons of the Sceva. Jesus I know, and Paul I know, but who you is, boy? Who you is out here D-popping? I believe that's what Kevin Hart said. Yeah, Jesus I know, Paul I know, but who you is, Kirkisha? This is something new. Well, I said in a previous video, it ain't that new because I remember back in 1997 when he allowed the devil to speak through him on that song. That George Clinton remake, that Parliament Funkadelic remix where he said, if y'all think gospel music is going too far, you ain't seen nothing. Come on now. And here we are in 2025 looking at the BET Awards, feeling like in 97 we hadn't seen nothing. Oh, that demon told the truth, didn't he? Yes, Cato saying nothing new under the sun. It's just repackaged. Cato is repackaged in tight pants and spandex. Look like he been in a gym taking some HGH a little piece, in my opinion. Got his little V hairline all straightened out. I said, look, God is good. God will straighten your hairline. Listen. God will make your crooked hairline straight. I guess I ain't prayed hard enough. I got to pray harder. We know what it is. But I appreciate y'all hanging out with me tonight. I will take all of your responses under consideration. Next time I come across that recipe, say, hey, put a little of this in there. Put a little of that in there. How about we just cook with a little of that 5-star Walmart olive oil, blessed oil that used to be up under the pulpit when I was growing up. How about we just cook with that olive oil and call the meal blessed? How about that? Cato said, didn't he and his wife have a television show having couples do ungodly things? He sure did. I don't know how long it lasted. I ain't never seen an episode, but I did a video maybe, it's been a while, maybe a year or two ago on that. Sure did. And at that time, when they were doing the promotion, he said, somebody asked him, don't you care what the Christian community thinks? And he said, I couldn't care less what the Christian community thinks of me. Y'all have to search back through my old videos. It's there somewhere, but I did cover that once upon a time. And I guess the show just fizzled. I never heard anything else about it. listen. Amethyst Angel can go all the way there. She said, how about we cook with the bacon grease Grandma saved in a jelly jar? Oh my. Oh my. So you see, you talk about infusing the flavors. See, that's what they say on the TV show. You got to infuse the flavors. And they use all them terms that I don't understand, like reduction. Man, listen. I'm not trying to learn the terminology. I just want to learn how to do it. Of this and that reduction. And of this and that aioli. I'm like, bro, that's mayonnaise. Aioli? What? Forgive me, y'all. I'm learning. I'm telling you, I'm the grill master. Now, you want to see me on the grill? I'll see anybody. We can have it out. But this kitchen, that's a whole different animal. And listen, don't even get me started on baking. I just got to pray on that altogether. That's just, it's too much. It's too involved. It's too labor intensive. Amethyst Angel said, preachers of Atlanta. Listen, so after said bacon, my mother still got them jelly jars. Yeah. Yep. Still got them jars. Yeah, that's old school. They know how to do it. See, it's us that don't know, y'all. And we go and we get all of these degrees and we think we learned a little something. And then we come to figure out later on in life that Big Mama had it right whole time. Big Mama had it right. Listen, I can't bake to save my life. I got a long way to go. I ain't gonna hold you. I'll deal with that much, much later. Oh my. Cato said we had the Crisco can. Oh, she taking me back. Was Crisco even good for us? I mean, I know we using the can after we done used the Crisco, but we done probably poisoned ourselves using that fake lard stuff in that can. Vegas is first time visiting Atlanta with mom in Lafayette, Georgia, and wow, great church. I'm glad you having some good old church down there in Georgia. I'm glad. Urban Southern Cookie in the building. Thank you for being here. You just in time for the benediction. Jackson lard is best. I don't know how healthy it is. Thank you so much, Cato, for being here. We rock with you heavy. We miss you when you ain't here, and we appreciate you being here tonight. This is something we're going to try to continue to do moving forward. It is called Friday Night Live. You know why, Cato? Because it's Friday night and I'm live. It ain't much deeper than that. But we just try to get together because it's such a good vibe, as I was telling the people, and I'll repeat it because I don't think you were in the room and Urban Southern Cookie wasn't in the room, but we had such a good vibe in the live on last week that we had people who were dipping into the conversation that were complimenting on the vibe of the chat. And I appreciate it so much because the vibe of the chat is y'all. The vibe of the chat ain't me. I try to walk and chew gum as much as I can. But when I can't pay attention to the chat, y'all just rock out and keep it going. And that's what we experienced last week as we discussed the riots in Southern California, all the foolishness that's going on the West Coast. And we even enjoyed the 250th birthday of the United States Army. We watched the parade. We live streamed it. We had a good old time. Ooh, Urban Southern Cookie says she in ATL attending church at 2819. I just saw a video that those the Hebrews, put it that way, the Hebrews showed up at 2819. I don't know if they were causing a disturbance or just getting some clips that they wanted to go viral, but I did see that. I hope you don't get caught up in no shenanigans out there just trying to go to church and get a word. Vegas Strong says, in Vegas, feeling foreign when my greats came to Vegas in 1938. Cato says, I saw that too. They stayed on the outside. I did see that, and I was glad they did, Cato. It looked respectful in that they didn't march up on the premises. They stayed out near the sidewalk, near the street. They did have a microphone, and I saw some people walking past them that looked pretty intimidated or pretty scared. Now I'm going to go back and watch the video and see how it went down and see how it was reported. But I think that protesting at a church may not be the best approach to get your message across, regardless of what the message is. But if it's some foolishness and some shenanigans going on there, well, then bring it to the forefront so everyone can know about it. What y'all think about that? At the 2819 church. Oh, Amethyst Angel says they were verbally abusive to women and children. I know I saw a woman walking past. She didn't look too cool with what was going on there. She looked pretty afraid in the clip that I saw. I didn't like it. Amethyst Angel saying, watch it. It was demonic. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I know those. When I see those brothers doing their thing, and I'm on them folks platform, y'all. So, you know, it is what it is. I'm still shadow banned out here. So I appreciate all of y'all supporting. Like, share, spread it around as much as you can. That's how we fight against the algorithm. They still got their foot on my neck. But when I see brothers out there doing their thing like that, the first thing that comes to mind is, how many of y'all got felonies? How many of y'all don't take care of your kids? How many of y'all got arrears on your child support? Because I see y'all marching around. You ain't going to get nothing but bunions and hurt corns, some sore ankles. That's all you're achieving with all this marching and stomping and going on. But I bet if we took a tally, we'd find a couple $1 million in child support arrears. That's all I see. And by the time I get through processing that, I ain't got time to even listen to your message. Because I understand if somebody can convince you to put on the little uniform and the little hat situation and walk around screaming at the sky, I know you got something better to do that you ain't doing. I know. I go hard on the brothers. Because if I got to do the work, you should have to do the work too. If I got to be out here and be good, why you get to take it easy? If I get to work hard, why you get to be lazy? I got 4 sons. I got 2 grandsons. I got 3 grandsons, y'all. 1 just got here. I got a new one. I got 3 of them. And I don't want them to be like that. Honey K said, cut that mess out and go home. Well, see, that might be the problem. Because I've come across quite a few brothers in the community whose home situation is so down bad that they rather be out there doing something like that than to be at home. And there are organizations such as that that prey on brothers just like that. They're looking for the weak-minded. They're looking for the downtrodden. Saying, we know you broke down. We know you hurt. We know you disgusted by life. Come over here with us. Yes, Cato, the community. We got a lot to fix. We got a lot that needs changing. That's why I encourage each and every one of y'all. I know it ain't the easiest thing to cam up and get on them folks' platform and put a message out there, but you know what? We need as many voices as we can to fight against the enemy. And some of y'all be talking right. So I would love to support y'all. Cam up, get out here, spread your message, spread the word of God, and try to help as many people as you can through these types of platforms. I know it ain't easy. I have been called everything but a child of God on this platform. Some people don't even want to articulate it. They just put a raccoon in the comments. It is what it is. It goes with the territory. So if I can put a battery in your back as I close, if I can put a battery in your back and motivate you to get out here and join the fight to put a positive message out here in these internet streets, maybe you could be a counterbalance for someone. Maybe somebody just got through looking at some foolishness and come across your content. And you bring them back. You reel them back in after they was about to be misguided by that foolishness. Maybe someone hears your message or sees your video, and then they come across something that you were speaking on, and they say, I'm not going to go that route. I know better because I heard your message. You can be the difference. You can be the change. See, this here go one of our sisters right here. She got a message. She got a word. Urban Southern Cookie said, when speaking with my brother Preston this morning, he said something very wise, profound, and indubitably truthful. See, there she go with her $10 words. She this is our in-house wordsmith, y'all. He said, lies cannot go unchallenged when planted into uninformed soil. They grow into reality. That's heavy. I like that. If we plant that seed of lies in your uninformed brain, what you think gonna grow from that? That's heavy. Shout out to Preston. Shout out to Urban Southern Cookie. She got a word. She said her and Preston might start a podcast on y'all. And we know Cato cammed up a while ago and she blessed us so good. I had my boy on the podcast with me, y'all. We was on live and Cato decided to cam up. She blessed us so good. We was like, whoa. So we know y'all got the gift. And as many voices as we could have in the fight. I think that's the approach. Y'all have had so many people come to me and want to join forces and say, hey, can you hire me? Can I help you? Can I work with you? And I said, listen, I understand what you're trying to do, but all of us coming together, I don't think is the best approach because you got one target that just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and is easier to hit. Now, we need thousands of different targets out there doing the work. They can't kill us all, bro. They can't kill us all. That's what it is. I thank you all for being here on this Friday night. It is another edition of Friday Night Live this June 20th, 2025. I call it Friday Night Live because it's Friday night and I'm live. And y'all live with me. And that's the best part of it. Because anybody knows me knows I am an introvert by nature. But I love hanging out with y'all. And I learn as much from y'all as y'all claim to learn from me. And it's been a blessing for me on this night. And when I see that wine in that recipe, I'm going to think about y'all. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to think about what you said. I'm going to think about how you blessed me. And I'm going to take your advice. Some of y'all and others of y'all, I'm going to pray for. How about that? Cato says, I have my first book coming out in August. That's awesome. That's amazing. I'll send you a copy when it drops. Bring it over here and let us know so we can talk about it in the chat. Maybe you can even cam up and talk about it in the chat. We can discuss it. What is the book about? Says, I'm so humble. What is the book about? Are you ministering to us? Is there a particular topic? I'm curious now. Now you're going to make us wait till August? I want to know. Just a trailer from the publisher today made me cry. I bet, because as those things come to fruition, it's pretty mind-blowing. It really is. But I am happy for you. I am proud of you. And I hope that God blesses it. We will do everything we can to support over here. We're going to buy it. Everybody over here going to buy one. So just let us know when the website is up, when the link is up, when it's on Amazon. Let us know how we can get it, when we can get it, where we can get it. And we are here to support you just as you have supported us. Thank you so much. We appreciate your support, even sponsoring the stream tonight with our sister Urban Southern Cookie. We know she's going to start that podcast. Her and Preston going to get out there and they're going to bless the world. We know it's coming. We speaking it into existence. Anybody else? Anybody else want to declare tonight that you're going to step out there and stand on business for the community? Stand on business for God? It don't matter what the topic is. See, I understand, LS. I just told them a little while ago that YouTube still got their foot on my neck. We dealing with it. We shadow banned, but it's okay. You here, LS, you made it. Now you just made it in time for the benediction. So please catch the replay. Since they're not sending you notifications, we know what it is. We appreciate you, LS. Thank you for being here. Thank you to our sponsors of this stream tonight, our sisters who are out there doing their thing. We're looking forward. Can we get a title of the book? Because now I'm so curious. I don't even want to get off before I know more. I want to know. Okay, I'm gonna leave you alone, but I'm gonna leave you with this, Cato. Whenever you're ready, we family over here. You got an outlet over here. You got support over here. Let us know over here when you are ready, and we will do everything in our power to support. So after want to know the title too. Look, they own you. You done opened a whole can of worms, but I'm gonna leave y'all with the benediction on that. We appreciate our sister for coming through. We ain't seen her in a while, but she always bring good vibes and good energy, and she's a supporter of what we do over here. We love and appreciate her, just like we love and appreciate each and every one of you for rocking out on a Friday. Y'all be safe. Don't do nothing crazy. Pray for one another on this Friday night. Appreciate all our mods rocking out tonight. We had a majority of our mods in the building, and Cato is one of the mods too. We appreciate all y'all mods modding on tonight. Thank you all for being a part of Friday night and hanging out with me, spending some time. We see you all. I see you all in chat. Even where's one? Where's one? I ain't never seen your name in the chat before. Where you been? You done popped up at the end? Where's one? You're welcome in this space. I hope to see your name again. Everybody, Vegas Strong, you're welcome in this space. Thank you for being here. Yes, I am concerned about Israel and Iran. I have a degree in political science. I follow this stuff. I eat this stuff up. I don't want to bore y'all with it, but I'm going to go get caught up on the evening news as I eat my dinner and enjoy the rest of my night. I hope that you all do the same. Y'all stay prayed up. Pray for me as I pray for you. I love you all. I appreciate you all. And I'll see you on the next one.